This is it. This is the place where my Splatoon 2 dreams come true.
So folks, a while back I got an S rank in every single ranked mode in the game. There is a rank above S rank, and that is X rank. And I'm not going to make any promises that I'll get an X rank in any mode. Okay? That stuff is tough. That is reserved for the best players in the world. And I figured if there were to be some mode where I could potentially try to get an X rank, I should play my favorite mode, which is probably my best mode, Tower Control. Yes! Yes! I'd say that rank X is well earned! Oh, I feel so good right now!
Hello humans, I'm Yoshiller, and I've been playing Splatoon for quite a while. Technically, I've been playing Splatoon since before it was cool. That is to say, I've been playing it ever since it was first unveiled at E3 2014, where it had a playable demo on the show floor, right next to Super Smash Bros. For Nintendo's 3DS and Super Smash Bros. For Wii U, which had most of Nintendo's spotlight at the time. But at that time, most people, myself included, thought that Splatoon had potential, but we weren't exactly wowed by the E3 demo. And now, here we are 8 years later, and Splatoon has grown so much. And in those 8 years, I've created over 200 videos based on Splatoon and Splatoon 2. For the first game alone, I recorded a walkthrough of the single-player campaign, I recorded a separate walkthrough of the game's amiibo missions, I recorded 4 different sessions for the test-fire demos, and I recorded a multiplayer series that consisted of 46 videos. And with regards to Splatoon 2, counting this video, I've now created 100 videos focused on the game's multiplayer components. So, suffice it to say, I think that Splatoon has become a major component of my life and my YouTube channel, and the series has quickly become one of my all-time favorite video game series ever. I'm excited to see what endeavors and stories Splatoon 3 shall bring to me, but before I dive on into that whole adventure, I figured that I should finally close out things in Splatoon 2. After all, Splatoon 2 had a major impact on me and my career as an entertainer and video editor. I was able to do a lot and accomplish a lot because of this game. My multiplayer series, known as Rank It Up, that's the series you're technically watching right now, allowed me to participate in so many opportunities that I normally wouldn't have been able to experience in any other game. I was able to get the game early thanks to Nintendo of America providing me a copy, but beyond that, I played this game any opportunity I could at events like E3, PAX, and just separate Nintendo special events. But because I had the game early, my first official recording session for the game took place prior to the game's official launch, where I was able to play against other game reviewers and early access players. And in the truest sense, I was able to showcase myself starting out in Splatoon 2. My starting point was against other early access players, and from there, I was able to document myself climbing the game's ranks, and I was able to start from the depths of the bottom of the C rank and climb all the way up to the S rank for each individual ranked game mode. I was able to reach X rank for my favorite mode of Tower Control. I was able to play against the best of the best. I was able to play alongside the best of the best. I was able to team up with players and take on the new Salmon Run mode. I was able to experience the hilarity of randomized weapon sessions in Salmon Run. I was able to reach the highest possible rank of Salmon Run and showcase the intensity of the hazard level max difficulty. I was able to record myself participating in a variety of Splatfests. I was able to record myself teaming up with friends for Splatfests. I was able to win a fair share of high scoring matches and show up on the game's newsfeed in the lower left corner, which my friends were able to see. I was able to host friend room sessions in Splatoon where we were able to truly witness the zaniness of the game's casual and competitive natures. I was able to meet all sorts of new players thanks to the ever-growing Splatoon community. And I was able to showcase the best of what Splatoon 2 had to offer. From capturing my growth as a player, to documenting timed events, to recording the power of spontaneously formed competitive teams, I truly did get to record and experience a lot within Splatoon 2. I'm sure that there are still plenty of things that I'd wish I'd done and I'd wish I'd recorded, but that won't ever change the fact that I was able to do a lot of stuff in this silly little squid shooter game. But I feel the need to put things into perspective. I feel that it's important to provide some additional context as to why I put so much focus onto this game and devoted myself to record so many videos for this Rank It Up series. So naturally, the most logical starting point to explain everything would be with the impact that the original Splatoon game had on me. See, when the original Splatoon game launched back on the Wii U, that was an era of Nintendo's history where games were not released as frequently as they are now on the Nintendo Switch. So when a game was released during those days, fans clamored to it. When a game came out, us fans fans had to make it last. So if you were a fan during the Wii U era and you bought a game, whether it was single player focused or multiplayer focused, you had to make it last for at least a month or two, because who knew when the next major Wii U game would release? This is most evident in games such as Super Mario Maker and Pokken Tournament. Those games basically created new communities and styles of content for various content creators on social media, and the people that played those games back in the day were effectively dedicated to them. Nowadays, there's Super Mario Maker 2 and Pokken Tournament Deluxe, and while those games are fun and successful in their own rights, you don't see nearly as much focus on those games these days because so many other games are coming out so much more frequently. So, back in the old Wii U days, games were not released at a steady pace. Many fans were practically starving for Nintendo news and any glimpse of an upcoming game that might release. And eventually, Nintendo started to talk about Splatoon. At the time, it was a brand new franchise, and Nintendo was advertising it a lot, especially close to its release. There were all sorts of events meant to hype up this game. It was clear that they wanted this squid shooter game to be the next big thing. And in this era of infrequent releases, that was quite a big risk for them. Like, we're only getting games every 3-4 months, and this new IP about sea creatures is supposed to hold everyone over until the next major Nintendo game comes out? Nintendo, you're putting all your money into this? Well, okay. And fortunately for them, Splatoon did become the next big thing. It sold nearly 5 million units on a system that sold about 13.5 million units total, meaning that over a third of Wii U owners had Splatoon. And then Splatoon 2 went on to sell over 13 million units, which is almost as many people who purchased a Wii U in the first place. And then there was also all sorts of Splatoon merchandise, and Splatoon characters appeared in all sorts of other media, and now it's not uncommon to see the inkling of Splatoon standing alongside Mario, Link, and various Animal Crossing creatures. Nintendo considers Splatoon to be one of their pillar franchises now. Nintendo really went all in on making Splatoon a major IP of their company, and it worked. And as a result, it was very cool to be caught in the middle of the game's growing popularity back then. As for me as a content creator, Splatoon launched back in 2015, which was a time when I was bouncing back and forth between hitting my stride and remaining stagnant with regards to the growth of my channel. See, I'm not afraid to admit that I'm primarily popular on YouTube because my new Super Mario Bros. Wii videos from 2009 went viral around those times. And while I've had a few additional videos since then go viral over the years, with fluctuating levels of success, I will still receive a lot of comments where people will say, "Hey, I remember you from your new Super Mario Bros. Wii videos." And sure, that's cool, but I hardly remember those videos. At this point in time, I'd created thousands of videos and launched all sorts of series on my channel, and yet people primarily knew me for a video series that, admittedly, I hardly remember. I had wished that I could be known for something for which I had more passion, and that wish would be somewhat granted, but I'm getting ahead of myself. At this time, I was just concerned about making videos that people had any interest in at all. And so eventually I decided that I wanted to take my hobby of creating YouTube videos and take it more seriously. My channel has changed so much over the years, and starting around late 2014, I have launched an initiative for my content to try and become more streamlined and consistent. I had started to grow comfortable with the idea of regularly using custom thumbnails, and I was going to create new videos every single day, to the best of my abilities. And to this current day, the style of content that I create and the schedule that I try to pursue comes from those days in 2014 and 2015, where I came up with a strategy to try and simplify things. Walkthrough videos on the weekdays, and multiplayer videos on the weekends, with whatever Wednesday videos every week to grant me the opportunity to try out different content and allow viewers to have something to look forward to each week if they didn't like my regular style of content. Now, throughout most of the Wii U days, especially throughout 2014, the big two multiplayer games were Super Smash Bros. For Wii U and Mario Kart 8, so those were the two series that primarily occupied the weekend slots of my video upload schedule. With that said, my Mario Kart 8 videos primarily focused on me playing random worldwide races against players, and usually I was playing by myself and commentating by myself. It wasn't until 2015 where I grew more comfortable with the idea of recording co-commentated sessions with other players. Co-commentated recording sessions, at least for me, were usually reserved for whatever Wednesday videos or for my Super Smash Bros. Videos. A game like Super Smash Bros. Makes more sense to me, where every player shares the same screen, so we can all commentate about the exact same thing going on. Whereas in Mario Kart, every player has their own screen, and therefore players could be talking about something that I can't see. But as I made more Mario Kart videos, I liked the idea of playing with friends and having everyone co-commentate together. And even so, since these were the two big big games at the time, I had to adjust anyway. But what helped was that these 2 games received DLC and had active player bases, so they provided a large amount of content for me. Then, in 2015, Nintendo began their big advertising campaign for Splatoon, and as they revealed more and more information about the game, my friends and I began to take a greater interest in it. And so, when Nintendo announced that there'd be a playable demo, known as a test fire, that all of us could download onto our own Wii U systems, my friends and I were eager to try out the game. It was a way for players to play the game prior to its official release and see what Splatoon truly had to offer. Would this truly be Nintendo's next Mario Kart or Super Smash Bros? Well, this would at least provide us an opportunity to see if that potential was existent. And so the test fire launched, and it didn't go over as planned. Many players, myself included, couldn't connect online, and some players couldn't even get the demo to function beyond the title screen. I wasn't able to make full use of the demo and play other players, but I was able to, move around. And so I figured I'd go ahead and make use of my limited demo time by painting the entirety of the tutorial stage. And then I made some posts about it, and those were well received, and I got positive feedback, and I don't know, it was just a different era. I was making my own fun. At the same time, I feel like if it was any other game or any other company or any other time, most people would have given up and swiftly moved on to something else. But with Splatoon, eventually the test fire did work. Nintendo extended the test fire demo time, my friends and I had fun, and we were curious to see how the final game would be. And then the day came, mid-2015, Splatoon officially launched, and it was okay. But it was severely lacking content. I mean, the game launched without friend rooms, so the only way you could even play with your friends at first was to join a public lobby. And in the earliest days of the game, my friends and I would mess around a lot. We were kind of bullies. We did whatever we could to try and tell players, hey, we're trying to get a friend room going here. And if 1 or 2 players were still straggling along, we kind of forced them to leave. But then, Nintendo started to release a fair share of updates for Splatoon, and the updates were released pretty frequently. In fact, even just a day or 2 after the game came out, Nintendo said, enough people bought this game, so now ranked battles are going to be accessible. And through their steady flow of updates and a constant supply of timed events, the Splatoon community managed to remain active. And looking back on things now, it made participating in a lot of those timed events feel a lot more special. Now, on the content creator side of things, it took some time for my Splatoon videos to find their footing. It was a learning process, to be sure. But as time went on and as I made more and more Splatoon videos, I found a better way to present each episode of the series. I became a bicycle helmet wearing, splat roller using maniac, and I hosted sessions where my friends and I could exclusively showcase a new map or play with a specific weapon class or play hide and seek. The overall presentation of my videos improved as time went on, and I honestly felt as though I was able to grow as a content creator thanks to Splatoon. Of course, the time came when Splatoon's popularity started to fade, as Nintendo was ready to move on from the Wii U to a new console, and thus release a sequel to Splatoon in the process. And so, Nintendo decided to announce and release Splatoon 2 with a similar marketing and release tactic to the original game. There were presentations solely dedicated to the game, with even 1 or 2 other presentations solely dedicated to other games using Splatoon 2 to kind of give themselves a view boost. There was a test fire demo, but this time the demo functioned properly, and the game was released with, well, more content than the original Splatoon, but the game still needed to be updated to truly have everything. But once again, there were many updates that added so much more content to the game, and ultimately, the final product of Splatoon 2 is quite the valuable package. And just like with the original Splatoon, being able to play things back before the game truly expanded and being able to play in these limited time events makes Splatoon 2 feel like a neat little time capsule in a way. All in all, Splatoon 2 made for a great, you had to be there type of game, and I'm glad that I was able to be a part of it. And plus, now that I'd already figured out how my Splatoon videos would function thanks to my original Splatoon Wii U series, I was ready to immediately dive on into Splatoon 2 videos. When Splatoon 2 was announced, I knew I wanted to make a series regarding it, but I didn't know what I wanted to call it at first. Originally, I was going to call it Ink 2 Up to help differentiate it from my original Splatoon Ink It Up series, but ultimately I thought just calling it Splatoon 2 Ink It Up was the best decision. Just like with the original Splatoon, I made a walkthrough for the game's single player, and then I made a multiplayer series. And as I mentioned earlier, counting this video, I have made 100 videos dedicated to Splatoon 2's multiplayer features. The game allowed me to record a variety of content, and when I break it all down, these were the videos for the game that I created. 40 videos focused on matches in the game's ranked modes. 21 videos were Splatfest sessions. 19 videos were focused on Salmon Run. 9 videos were League Battle sessions. 6 videos were Friend Room sessions. 3 videos were regular old Turf War sessions. And the last video, which is this one, makes for my 100th Splatoon 2 Ink It Up video. Of the 100 episodes of this series, 6 of the Splatfest sessions were co-commentated. 15 of the Salmon Run sessions were co-commentated. All 9 League Battle sessions were co-commentated. All 6 Friend Room sessions were co-commentated. And so, that totals out to 36 sessions that were co-commentated. That means that just over a third of my Splatoon 2 videos featured guests that provided commentary alongside me. This is particularly interesting to me because my series for the original Splatoon and Super Smash Bros. For Wii U thrived on me having guests. More of those videos featured co-commentary than those that didn't. In fact, there are very few videos of either of those series that featured me performing solo commentary. It almost felt weird to play those games by myself. But Splatoon 2 demonstrated that I could create variety simply by alternating between playing by myself and playing with my friends. I could go run off and have my own little adventure, and then I could reunite with friends or meet new players and see how much we've all grown. It gave me an excuse to experiment, and the large variety of game modes and objectives made it easy for the game to remain fresh. Now, even though I got to play this game early, and even though I got to play this game with a large variety of players throughout the community, I don't know that my name of Yoshiller will ever be a name that's commonly associated with the Splatoon series. But the Splatoon series is something that I'll commonly associate with me. I was able to demo Splatoon 2 prior to its release. I was able to make videos of the game prior to its launch. I was able to document and archive various components of the game. I was able to participate in a variety of timed events. I was able to meet and collaborate with all sorts of players throughout the game. I was able to reach high ranks that only about 1% of players have ever achieved. I was able to assist Chugga Conroy with his own set of Splatoon 2 videos. And I was able to have a blast through it all. But when people think of Splatoon or Splatoon 2, I doubt they'll think of me first. I'm certainly not going to go down as one of the all-time Splatoon greats, and I'm not a Splatoon-focused content creator, so it's unlikely someone's first pick when they think of Splatoon videos will be mine. But despite all this, my series was able to tell my own story and showcase my own little adventure. Even if, at the end of the day, this is all just a series of gameplay videos that showcased me getting splatted over and over and over, they still show my growth as a player and my time watching the game evolve. If you go back and look at my first few Splatoon 2 videos, where I'm still understanding the mechanics of the game and there's very few modes and very few maps and very few weapons, and you compare them to my later Splatoon 2 videos, where all the maps and modes and weapons are here, and I'm holding my own against X-rank players, you'll see that I was able to grow alongside the game. And I think that that's cool. You'll see that my skills and understanding of the game have grown spectacularly as the game itself has grown tremendously. In a way, I was able to showcase all of us better understanding the game, and I was able to showcase the game better finding its place in the industry. And when I look at my Ink It Up series that way, I'm glad that I chose to make a video series for Splatoon 2. While there are some videos that may not be as entertaining as others, I'm glad that I was able to play what I played and record what I recorded. I think I got my fill of Splatoon 2 content. I think I played my fair share of ranked matches, league battles, salmon run sessions, splatfests, and friend rooms to make for a sufficient gameplay series. So I feel comfortable finally bringing this series to a close, on episode 100 no less. I guess before I finally close things out, I'd like to give a few extra tidbits for this series. For starters, my favorite map in the game is probably Anchovy Games, and my least favorite is probably Moray Towers, though I'm starting to realize that I didn't really care too much for Camp Triggerfish either. Although, come to think of it, my actual favorite Splatoon 2 map was probably that one shifty station that had the cannons on it, but otherwise Anchovy Games was my favorite. And then for Salmon Run maps, my favorite map was the Ruins of Arc Polaris, simply because it just functioned so differently to the other Salmon Run maps. I guess, by similar logic then, my least favorite Salmon Run map was probably Spawning Grounds, just because it was the most basic. My favorite weapon was my all-reliable handy-dandy splat roller, though technically I used the Hero Roller replica after completing the game's single-player mode. I never did get to host a session where my friends and I all had to primarily use a specific weapon class. I did this in the original Splatoon, but alas, I didn't host too many friend room sessions in Splatoon 2. But if I had to choose a second favorite weapon, and if I wasn't allowed to just choose a different type of roller, I will say that I actually did enjoy Brellas. It was mainly the single player that made me grow a fondness for using Brellas, but it was really Salmon Run that honed in my favoritism toward them. Technically, my favorite weapon in the game could be argued that it was the Grizzkill Brella from Salmon Run, but since that weapon isn't available in standard multiplayer, I'll just have to say that I like using the standard Splat Brella and Tenta Brella. I even used the Splat Brella in one of Chugga Conroy's Splatoon 2 videos, but I never really wound up using it in my own series outside of Salmon Run. Now, I've already stated that my favorite game mode was Tower Control. My least favorite, though, was Clam Blitz. With that said, I played every game mode a fair amount and I made it to at least S rank in all of them. I only made it to X rank in tower control, but even then, I lost my X rank and re-earned it multiple times. So while I may not be in the ranks of all-time best Splatoon 2 player, I'm still good enough to have earned my spot in the X class on more than one occasion, and I feel as though that should stand for something. Because I didn't host too many friend room sessions in Splatoon 2, my friends and I were never able to have any hide and seek sessions like I did in the original Splatoon. Hide and seek in particular probably would have been extra fun with the shifty station maps, but alas, this was all just a different era. In the original Splatoon, my friends and I sometimes had to make our own fun, like I mentioned earlier. But here in Splatoon 2, there was enough content to keep us all occupied for a while. Still, my biggest regret with my Splatoon 2 series was that there were only 6 friend room sessions, but I did my best to rotate out different players and give different player combinations and interactions a chance. I primarily stocked up on friend room sessions toward the end of Splatoon 2's life when I realized things were going to come to an end and I wanted to take advantage of the opportunity before it was too late. With regards to Splatfests, I always picked Marina's team. It just worked out that way. I mean, yeah, between Pearl and Marina, I just like Marina more, but she usually picked the side for which I had more passion. That also meant that I obviously didn't win every single Splatfest. In fact, I lost my fair share of Splatfests, but at least I won a couple of them too. Additionally, I was able to play a fair share of 10 times battles during Splatfests, and I even went on some pretty strong winning streaks with my friends in some sessions. However, despite this, I was never able to participate in a 100 times battle throughout the entirety of my series. Maybe that's for the better, as I would have felt extremely guilty if I were to play one and then lose, but still, I got to play a number of 10 times battles, and I basically won 100 battles as a result. Oh, and just like my original Splatoon series, every episode of Splatoon 2, Ink It Up, had the word squid or ink in the title. So, with the 100 episodes in this series and 46 in the previous series, that means I now have 146 Splatoon-related videos with the word squid or ink in the title. Some are certainly better than others, but hey, I'm doing what I can. And then, to truly help on the variety side of things, I tried my best to showcase everything that Splatoon 2 had to offer, which meant that I truly tried to record every map and every mode. However, according to the Splatoon 2 Nintendo Switch Online app, I never actually played a ranked match of Rainmaker on Piranha Pit. More specifically, I never played this specific map mode combination until one of my last friend room sessions. I recall even commenting on it, saying something to the effect of, "Whoa, this is what the map looks like?" Well, that's why. It turns out I just never actually played that in an official ranked mode setting. Just never played on Piranha Pit while Rainmaker was in the rotation. And in a similar vein, I also never played Splat Zones on Gobi Arena, or Clam Blitz on Snapper Canal, or Anchovy Games. I guess that lines up. Gobi Arena and Snapper Canal were perhaps the 2 stages that appeared the least in my series, and once I reached S rank in Clam Blitz, I really didn't play it anymore unless a friend requested it in one of my friend room sessions. Now that my series is coming to a close, I've now decided to tally up how frequently each stage appeared on a thumbnail. Please note that 2 of these episodes do not feature a stage on their thumbnails. That would be this episode, episode 100, which has custom artwork for it, and the August 3rd, 2020 session in which I obtained my X rank for the first time. So, with that in mind, there are 98 episodes to consider, 19 of which took place on Salmon Run maps. For the 79 maps that were on traditional multiplayer maps, Shifty Station would be the most popular if each variant of the stage was simply counted as Shifty Station. However, we now know that these Shifty Station maps each have their own name, and so when each Shifty Station map is counted as an individual map, then the stages that appeared the most on my thumbnails were The Reef and Arowana Mall, each appearing 5 times. Right behind them were Inkblot Art Academy, Moray Towers, Monta Maria, Piranha Pit, and Camp Triggerfish, each with 4 appearances. The stage that appeared the least on my thumbnails was Starfish Main Stage, which never appeared on a thumbnail. I promise that wasn't intentional, and the map is far from my least favorite. I quite like it. But as a result, it's very possible that this means that Starfish Main Stage was the stage that appeared the least in my Ink It Up series as a whole. Either that or Gobi Arena. And then the stages Muscle Forge Fitness and Humpback Pump Track only appeared on my thumbnails once. For the 19 Salmon Run session thumbnails, every map but Marooner's Bay appeared 4 times, whereas Marooner's Bay only appeared 3 times. When I concluded my series for the original Splatoon, I gave a brief summary of what occurred in every single episode, but since that series was only 46 videos long, the amount of time that it took to do so seemed a bit more reasonable. Now that I've got more than double the amount of episodes here in my Splatoon 2 series, I don't think I'll be doing the same thing here. Giving a summary for all 99 episodes of this series feels unnecessary, and it would make this video go on for over an hour. And besides, I feel as though I've already touched on most of the major happenings that occurred throughout my Ink It Up series anyway. Of course, I'm also ready to move on as well. All good things must come to an end after all. I'm ready to see what challenges await me in Splatoon 3, and I'm ready to see how Splatoon 3 will help me grow as a creator as well. Ultimately, I'm glad that I played Splatoon 2 and that I was able to participate in all of these experiences. And I hope that the content that the game provided me through all these years was as entertaining to all of you as it was for me. I hope that my videos, regardless of how high or low quality they may be, will still be fun to watch for years to come. Who knows if there will be a Splatoon 4 or a Splatoon 5 or a Splatoon 6 or a Splatoon spin-off or what have you. Regardless of what happens next, I can at least look back at the series and remember where everything truly began. Thank you to everyone that watched my content, whether it be one video or every episode of the series. Thank you to Nintendo for generously providing me a copy of this game so that I may experience this memorable journey. Thank you to the Splatoon community for providing me with new opportunities. And thank you, Splatoon 2, for helping things stay fresh.